Well guys, this is it. The final round of Fantasy Super Rugby Pacific 2025. This is for all the marbles. If you're going to catch up in your leagues, this is the last chance you have to do it. It's been a good journey so far. I hope you guys have been enjoying it like I have. Let's try and have a good crack at it for our last go. Now with the fixtures this week, I'm really liking the Chiefs over the Highlanders. I think all their backs are live options. Brumbies versus Crusaders. I'm a little bit worried this might be a bit of an arm wrestle. Kind of fading a lot of players in this matchup. Blues versus Waratahs. Blues, they probably have to win this game with a bonus point. Maybe they don't need the bonus point, but they sort of will have to chase it to give themselves the best chance at getting into the top 6. So they should be able to handle the Waratahs pretty well at home. That Waratahs lineup is a little bit depleted as well. So yeah, Blues picks could be good here. They're not the most prolific try scorers, but their forwards could definitely be worth a look in. Hurricanes and Moana Pacifica. Pretty interesting game here. We saw Moana get that absolute walloping last week. I'm kind of unsure how well they're going to bounce back for that, honestly. Like, I mean, if they crumble again, with the firepower the Crusaders have, they could put the same type of score on them. I'm not sure that's going to happen, though. I do think they'll pick themselves up, and I still think the Hurricanes will win. I'm not sure how much of a fight Moana will put up, but I mean, yeah, I do like Hurricanes backs a lot in this game. A few Moana picks might not go alright either, but we've got plenty of other good teams to draw backs from this week. And then the Reds versus the Endure at Suncorp. Draw have nothing to play for. They've had some real shockers while traveling this year, and the Reds, I mean, they should be able to handle them comfortably at home. They could even put a very good score on, but it's kind of tricky picking Reds players. I'm not a huge fan of their backs in general, even though I really like this matchup a lot for a big score. So it does make kind of picking their players a bit tricky. But at the moment, the forecast says there's a pretty decent chance of rain as well. So definitely keep a close eye on that if you are thinking of picking up Reds, especially the backs. If it does rain though, I mean, their forwards will still be good pickups anyway. Now starting with the outside backs, no super standout must picks for me this week, but like I was just alluding to while previewing those fixtures, I really like the backs in those teams. I like the Chiefs, like the Hurricanes. I think they're all live. So guys like Leroy Carter, Sean Stevenson. Also, you need to be aware that Ateni Nanai Saturo is back this week as well. Hasn't played a lot this year, but he is on the left wing. And if the Chiefs go well against the Highlanders, he will probably be picking up some points. There is a chance he might get subbed though. We often see this with these players coming back from long layoffs. They do end up being the guys who get subbed. Anasa Mataele is on the bench for the Chiefs. He's another player we haven't seen for a long time, plays wing as well, so I do kind of suspect he will just be the one to replace Nanai Saturo. Other backs to look at though, the Hurricanes, big fans of them. That means Ruben Love is live. Finianganofo, he'll be on the left wing. He could be an even better pick than Love, to be honest. If you do expect the Hurricanes to put a big score on Moana, I think he could be the guy. On the other wing is Balin Sullivan, who, as we've talked about in many of these videos before, is in the midfield for fantasy. Obviously played a lot of centre earlier in the season as well while Billy Proctor was out. He's a live option for the midfield. And I haven't mentioned it thus far, but Ruben Love is starting at fullback at this game finally. He is not starting at 10. Brett Cameron finally gets the 10 jersey, so we should see a full game from Ruben Love in that 15 jersey. Beyond just the Chiefs and the Canes, Some of the picks I do like are some of the usual solid players. Radamai Tavuki Neepkins being extremely solid. Even though it didn't go that well against the Crusaders last week, despite all the ball the Highlanders had, you think he would have gone well, but he did not. But I mean, look, his form's been so good up till then. Only problem I have with Radamai Tavuki Neepkins though is that even though he's getting good scores and losing efforts, he's just, because they're never in a really strong winning matchup like they were against the Draw, he's just not really in line for one of these big scores, which is the sort of score we want to chase with the outside backs. Like I said before, with these Crusaders and with these Chiefs as well, I said I was fading them just because I suspect that it could be an arm wrestle there in Canberra. It's possible there could be more running rugby there, but don't really want to take the gamble on it. One person who has returned this week is Mark Talia. I think he is a guy back in contention because I do think the Blues could put some points on the Waratahs. But again, the Blues, it's not a great place to be a back this year. A lot of their points are being scored by the forwards and they're not getting the best ball out to the back. So a few caveats over this pick. Also, maybe a bit of a chance that he ends up getting subbed for Cole Forbes as well. So be aware of that. And the last players I want to mention are the Reds outside backs. You got Lockie Anderson, Tim Ryan, Jock Campbell. I do think the Reds really have the potential to put a big score on the Draw and score a lot of tries, provided it doesn't rain. It does look like it might rain there, but yeah, I just don't really like picking any of these players. And as you can see from their averages, they really haven't been that exciting this year. But I mean, if the Drua crumble, a lot of points could really go there. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one or more of these guys really hitting a decent score, probably for the first time all year. Out of a lot of them, Tim Ryan is probably my favorite pick. But yeah, I'm very wary about chasing these guys. But if you want to gamble, they are ones to consider because probably no one else is picking them. Now moving on to the midfield. As usual, Billy Proctor, he is our number one guy. He remains there this week. Pretty favorable matchup against Moana Pacifica as well. He should be able to get his running game going. Mentioned earlier as well that Balin Sullivan, he is back out on the wing. He is probably going to get subbed, but I think he is still a good pick if you think that the Canes will get away from Moana Pacifica. I'm kind of tossing up on whether I chase him or not, but still pretty solid pick, I think. One thing to be aware of is that Josh Fluke is back this week after a very long layoff. And like I was just talking about before, I do think the Reds could put a good score on the Drua, especially if it is dry. And Fluke is one of the backs I do actually like. I don't like their outside so much. I wish Dalguna wasn't on the bench. If he wasn't on the bench, I'd probably pick him. Instead, we have Josh Fluke coming back in the midfield. And yeah, I do think he definitely could go well. I kind of rate him on par with Balin Sullivan, even though Balin's on the wing. But yeah, got to keep an eye on that weather. There's also a bit of a caveat as well. Dalgunu is on the bench, and I kind of do have a suspicion he could end up replacing Fluke. We've seen Dalgunu play a lot of 13 this year, and often these players returning from injury after a long layoff do get subbed, but that's not something to be taken with any amount of certainty. It's kind of tricky to know who is going to get subbed when Dalgunu is there. Looking at other options, man, Quinn Tupaia, he's always solid, and I do like the Chiefs going up against the Highlanders. I do think they could get some good points there. And other than that, last one I'd give a shout out to is Corey Evans. He is starting at fullback again. Did pretty well in that Drua game from that position. He looked to carry the ball a lot, even though it was a bit wet. And because he's at fullback again, yeah, he might bring out that carrying instinct again, especially because the Blues are going to be chasing that bonus point. He might look to attack a bit more, so he is a bit of a live option, not one of my top options, but yeah, he's a gamble you can take. Other than that, Julian Sevilla finally gets a start in the 12 jersey because Danny Tawala is injured. Sevilla should get some good minutes here, but I do not like their chances that much against the Hurricanes. Now looking at the 10s, pretty much just a 2-horse race for me this week. You've got D-Mac and you've got Beauden Barrett. Both of them should go pretty well, but it's pretty hard to look past D-Mac. I mean, they probably, well, I don't know if I call it an easier match against the Highlanders than the Blues have against a depleted Waratahs, but just the way the Chiefs and the Blues play, I think the Chiefs are more likely to score more points. So yeah, really hard to look away from this one unless you're full up on Chiefs, in which case you can go for Blues. Again with the 9s, similar situation. Cam Roigard, he's our guy, has been all year. I expect him to go well against Moana. Tate McDermott, he's been the other guy in the slot. Like, it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then he does put on a pretty big score. They're taking on the Endura at home, and like I've been saying up till this point, like I do think the Reds could put some serious points on here. He could go well in that situation. He didn't go well when they last played the Endura in Fiji a few weeks though. He got a terrible score, even though it was a very high scoring game. Reds did end up losing that game though, and I expect them to go much better in this one, but really hard to look past Roigard unless somehow you are already full on Hurricanes. Then you can look at Tate. Now with the back rowers, I'm pretty much eyeing up the exact same back row as last week. Hardy, Hoskins, Harry Wilson. Hoskins and Harry, they're in pretty favorable matchups. I like the chances of both of them to go well. With Artie, I mean, he was in such amazing form right up until that game last week when they got crushed against the Chiefs. He did end up getting subbed off as well. Didn't actually get to 60 minutes. Did manage to score a try, so not a bad effort in such a punishing losing effort where he basically scored the only try that they got, still got 31 points. Whatever happens, he is not getting subbed off this week. Like if they are losing the game, he has to stay on and they have to fight all the way to the finish. And I think he'll do that. I think he'll lead from the front. Even if his guys are behind, he'll want to go down swinging. So yeah, I am big on Artie this week, even though I think the Hurricanes could win relatively comfortably. And yeah, Hoskins, I mean, Blues, I favor them a lot above the Waratahs at home. Blues score a lot of points through their forwards. Hoskins, he's always involved with their try-scoring motions. That doesn't always mean he gets points. He's often running a dummy line, drawing those defenders, but in other situations, he gets to be the one to crash over, so I do like Hoskins here. And Harry Wilson, yeah, just taking on the Endura at home. Like the Reds a lot, like Harry Wilson a lot. Pretty straightforward pick in my opinion. Other guys to look at though, I mean, Fraser McWright, he's pretty good as well. Wouldn't choose him above Harry Wilson, but you might want both of them in some situations. I'll give a little shout out to Tom Christie. Like I said, that Brumbies Crusaders game could be an arm wrestle, but guy like this, he can go pretty well in arm wrestles. Like Tom Christie, he's a real turnover specialist. Like he's an out and out fetcher, has been for many years now. Possibly one of the best fetcher in the country. And yeah, he's always going to be good for some turnovers if the Crusaders are not playing with a lot of ball in hand. Miracle Failangi, I mean, yeah, he's good, right? If you don't like any of these other options, I think you can't go wrong with him. The third Reds back row, I think it's Jesse Bryle. He's got a lot of pace to him. He could go well in an open game against the Endura. And then you have also Tupo Tyler, number 8 for the Moana as well. Not as good as Artie and Miracle, but yeah, he's another option to round things out. Now onto the locks, not a lot interesting here. Our guy Wanga, he is back this week. Pretty much a must pick for me. If he gets one of his line breaks or a try or something, it straight away makes him better than all the other traditional locks. I've also gone with Josh Canham as well. Again, I just like the Reds' chances against the Indra. And Canham, he's a guy who can do pretty well in an open running game as well. So pretty straightforward pick for me. But there's still the reliables: Nick Frost, Shalfoon, Hooper, Holland, maybe even Toi Pilotu, if you're like in the Blues against the Tars like I am. Again, they do a lot of point scoring with their forwards, and Toi Pilotu, he's one of those big carriers. He can get over from close range, get across the line. Could be a good week for him potentially. Now onto the hookers. Pretty much a two-horse race for me. Ricky Riccatelli and Richie Asiata. Both very strong picks in my opinion. Like I keep saying, I expect the Blues to go well against the Tars. I expect them to do a lot of work up front with their forwards. Ricky is that guy. Also a very solid line-out thrower. Probably have the upper hand at scrum. Just because Renata is there. So could get a lot of base points on top of having a chance to get a maul try or a close range try. And with Richie Asiata, again, coming up against the Indra, Drawer's maul defense has been a bit dodgy this year. Reds are not afraid to leverage that maul either. And I did say there was a chance of rain in Brisbane for this game. If that happens, it's probably more likely we're going to see them, go for the corner, peg the corner, and look for those 5 meter lineouts and go over for more tries. So yeah, he could be a good pick in that situation as well. But either way, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these guys, even though I'm preferring Riccatelli this week. And finally, with the props, always a bit of a muchness up here. Renata's my main guy. Ever since he came back from injury a few weeks ago, I've picked him every game, except this one where he was on the bench. But these two games here, he scored a try, I think, in both of them. And yeah, he's just been good for points each time. Hoping the same thing comes from this game against the Tars. But otherwise, it's all the sort of usual suspects. Ethan de Groot's been doing pretty well recently, getting a lot of scrum points, which is really boosting up his score. And yeah, I mean, not sure how their scrum is gonna go against the Chiefs. If your props are getting penalized at every scrum, you're not going to get allocated those scrum points. But I mean, they held up against the Crusaders. I think the Chiefs scrum is probably just as good, so it'll probably hold up as well. If it doesn't, he'll probably drop down behind these guys in terms of points. Angus Bell, always solid. Saita Ufa'o hasn't done much since he went on that rampage against the Waratahs. We know he's very powerful from close range, but again, coming up against the Hurricanes, I don't know if it's going to be that easy. I don't know if this week is going to be his week, but this is the last chance for it. If you do want to take a gamble, if you're playing a bit of catch up, he's probably the guy to go for in this slot, if that's the sort of option you're looking for. Now, when it comes to captains and boosters this week, if you have any boosters left, you got to use them now. For the captain, pretty hard to look past Mackenzie coming up against the Highlanders. It's an away game, it's in Dunedin, but that just means it's definitely going to be dry, so we don't have to worry about that or have anxiety about checking any forecasts or anything like that. If you have a booster like a triple captain booster, I mean, yeah, he'll be the perfect pick this week for it as well. Other options to consider though, it's a bit tricky for me because with the outside backs, there's a lot of guys, I'm kind of putting them all on the same level. All those outside backs I mentioned in the Chiefs and Canes, I'm not really sure which way the points are necessarily gonna play out there. Billy Proctor, I mean, he's always been solid. Like, unless you think Moana are really going to put up a big fight against the Hurricanes, which they could do. But if you think the Canes are going to go really well, then yeah, I mean, Proctor he's been solid and has proven that he has really high potential as well. We saw this against the Reds, running up 83 points. He can get those big scores. So he's another guy you can go for if you sort of want to buck the trend and don't want to go with Mackenzie. Other than that, I don't know, like, yeah, like I kept saying, these outside backs, they're all kind of on the same level for me. I'm really uncertain about which ones are really going to get the big scores. There's also Adi Sevilla as well. If you do happen to think that Moana will pull a rabbit out of the hat, if Adi will go God mode again and just put the team on his back and come away from Wellington with the huge upset, he could be the guy. Like, after last week, I mean, my faith has wilted. I'm afraid to say I think it's a serious gamble to go with Adi now, but I mean, it could happen, right? It's Adi, so yeah, that is, if you're looking to make a gamble, that is another angle you could go for as well. Well guys, that'll do it. This has been the last best picks video of the season. I really hope that you've enjoyed this content or found the picks useful. I really enjoyed bringing them to you every single week. Let me know in the comments if you have been watching at all this year. This might be the last time that a lot of you probably see my content. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the channel from here on, because I never really set out to be like a rugby content creator. I really just started playing fantasy and found that there wasn't a lot of this sort of more longer form fantasy content out there, right? So I just sort of put it out there because it didn't exist. And yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to keep producing from here. I'll keep doing my lineups and tipping videos for the rest of the season. After that, I mean, we've got the All Blacks coming up. I'll be watching that, as I'm sure you guys will as well. Not sure if I'll make anything surrounding that. Not sure if I have much to contribute there, but we'll see. One thing I was thinking I might do actually is maybe put out a tier list just rating all the New Zealand Super Rugby players in each position, just sharing my thoughts on each of them, because yeah, I do think that every player that's sort of in the running for the All Blacks, at least, and a lot of the ones below them, they do kind of have their own unique attributes, strengths and weaknesses, and I wouldn't mind sharing that, pointing those out and kind of rating them all on a list as well, and sharing which ones I think might make the IBs. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. I'm not sure anyone would be. But otherwise, I know a lot of you don't watch the recap videos, so if this is it, then thank you guys for watching, and I will be back next year, I think, so I'll see you then.